Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief presented by Annapolis Subaru and the SPCA of Anne Arundel County. One day down, 4 more to go. Not sure about you, but this week is going to be a bear for me. I think I need another 8 hours or so. All right, we do have some news today, so let's get into it, shall we? Another shooting was reported in Annapolis last night. At around 7 p.m., police and EMS responded to the unit block of Ben's Drive in the Bay Ridge Gardens community for a shooting. One victim was transported to the hospital for treatment. We're waiting on the police department to issue some additional information, and they should get it to us sometime today. Fingers crossed. So you please want to check back with eyeonannapolis.net for that a bit later. And an update to the shooting we reported on yesterday. When the police released a report yesterday afternoon, they said that it was not a shooting, but a burglary on Royal Street. The suspect had broke into a home and cut his hand on a glass window, and he initially told police that he had been shot, but it turned out to be a cut. He is in critical condition and will be charged if and once he is released from the hospital. On Saturday, a verbal altercation at the Westfield Annapolis Mall turned violent. At 9:15 p.m., a suspect and a victim were in a verbal argument when the suspect drew a handgun. The suspect and 2 accomplices were wearing ski masks, and when the victim tried to call the Anne Arundel County Police, the suspect, his accomplices, and the victim all left the scene. Now, the incident was captured on video, so it did happen. The suspect was later positively identified, but the victim has not come forward, so no arrests just yet, and it is still an active case. You know, it's not too early to start thinking about the spring boat shows. The Bay Bridge Boat Show is up first at the Bay Bridge Marina on Kent Island. April 14th to the 16th are the dates for you power boaters, and for you blow boaters, April 28th to 30th here in Annapolis. Right now, the $20 admission is being discounted to $18 when you buy them in advance and online at AnnapolisBoatShows.com. And while you're there, check out the snazzy new website done by Symmetry. Boy, your podcatchers must have gotten a workout yesterday. First, you had the DNB at 6 a.m. and then a bonus pod with Profs and Pints, which I am actually thrilled is doing so well. The last 3 events have been sold out. And then Paula Poundstone, who's coming to the Rams Head on stage this Saturday. You know, it was funny. I assumed that she was in New York when her agent said to call her at 9 a.m., but she was actually in California. So Paula was in bed and I was not. Really funny few moments. Do check it out if you haven't already. And if you have never seen her act, Rams Head on stage Saturday night. The early show is sold out, but there are tickets still left for the 9 p.m. one. RamsHeadOnStage.com. And speaking of the Rams Head, I have a pair of tickets to see Chadwick Stokes, who's the frontman for Dispatch, tomorrow night. The seats are great, and just be the first one to get to me, and those seats are yours. And to sweeten up that deal a little bit, I also have a pair to see Accent, which is an a cappella group, for a matinee on March 19th. And then 2 more seats to see John McEwen, the founder of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, on the 21st. And I was busy yesterday talking to people. I talked to John McEwen yesterday as well for a bonus pod, so look for that in a little bit. To get any of those tickets, drop me an email or a DM on Twitter, get a hold of me somehow, and you might score a pair of great seats. And be sure to check out RamsHeadOnStage.com for all of the great upcoming shows. Okay, that's a wrap. But first, a quick thank you to you for listening and sharing and letting your friends and colleagues all know about the Daily News Brief, and to our sponsors for the Daily News Brief, Annapolis Subaru, the SPCA of Anne Arundel County, Solar Energy Services, Hospice of the Chesapeake, and Alpha Engineering. So now you need to hang tight because we have George Young from DC MDVA Weather standing by with your only locally forecast weather report, and back with the legal brief, Scott MacMullan from Scott MacMullan Law. All that coming up in just a bit.
Hello, energy consumers. This is Rick Peters, president of Solar Energy Services. Have you been looking for ways to save money recently? Maybe you should consider solar energy for your home. Or are you waiting for the technology to get cheaper? If so, how long are you going to wait? Today's solar costs less than 20% of what it cost 10 years ago. But while solar prices have declined every year, so have the financial incentives. Bottom line, if you wait for cheaper solar, you're also waiting for lower incentives. Take my home, for example. My solar system was installed in 2010, and it's been paid off for almost 5 years, and I no longer have to buy any electricity for another 15 to 20 years. If I waited for cheaper solar, I'd still be paying an electric bill. At Solar Energy Services, we have thousands of satisfied customers who are sure glad they didn't wait. So what are you waiting for? Sunshine's a wasted. Call us today for a free solar design at 410-923-6090 or on the web at solarsaves.net.
Sunshine, sunshine, nothing else can make me feel so fine.
When you live near Annapolis, you know how fickle the weather can be. So you need a truly local forecast that's accurate and reliable. Forecast right here in Annapolis. DCMD VA weather is not just for today, but for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Now here's George Young of DCMD VA weather with the weather outlook for today and beyond.
Hey everyone, this is George with DCMD VA Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Tuesday, March 6th. Pretty nice day yesterday for the Annapolis region to get the work and school week started, but changes will kick in today as we start a stretch of fairly chilly weather that will last into next week. Look for highs today in the lower mid-50s, but winds will be breezy with gusts over 30 miles per hour at times during the day out of the northwest, before gusting over 40 miles per hour in the nighttime and overnight hours ahead of sunny highs tomorrow near 50 degrees with chilly northerly winds continuing to gust over 30 miles per hour throughout the day, with a fairly nice day then Thursday with sunshine and low to mid-50s before mixed skies Friday with temps near 50 degrees with an expectation for some rain later Friday and into Saturday morning, with the outlook for much of the weekend a bit uncertain still, as there's some potential that a low-pressure center will form off the mid-Atlantic coast, and it could bring some wind and precip to the region this weekend. So stay tuned for updates throughout the week on that possibility, with the one certainty this weekend being the return to daylight saving time on Sunday, March 12th at 2 a.m. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DCMD VA Weather. Make it a great day out there today. Stay healthy and be safe. Don't forget, follow DCMD VA Weather on Facebook and Twitter for regular updates each day, along with the website at dcmdvaweather.info, and definitely be sure to download the DCMD VA Weather app on all of your devices from either the Apple or Google App Stores, so you can always stay weather informed.
Coping with advanced illness can be overwhelming, and determining the best options for a loved one isn't always so easy. But here at Hospice of the Chesapeake, your hometown hospice, we want you to know you do have a choice. You can choose exactly who provides the care and the type of care you receive, and it's your decision when and where your loved one receives that care. We have served our community, family, and friends for over 40 years. We are there when you need us. Learn how we can help at hospicechesapeake.org.
You never know when you might need an attorney. It could be when the lights light up on the police car behind you. Or maybe you have $1 million idea and need to incorporate. From wills and trusts to car wrecks and arrests, Scott MacMullan with the Annapolis-based Scott MacMullan Law, LLC, is here to offer some insight for you with today's Legal Brief.
Hello, Annapolis. This is Scott MacMullan, and this is your Legal Brief. This is the third and final segment of our Parenting Legal Checklist series. The first one was new parents. The second one is your kids about to go to college. And now this is the end of the life affairs that you need to do to help out your child and get your life in order. So there are a few documents that you need to consider that'll help out your child at the end of your life and help out the people that are going to be your beneficiaries. The first one is a do not resuscitate order, a DNR form, also referred to as allow natural death or no code, communicates that you don't want to receive life-sustaining treatment in the event of a cardiac or respiratory arrest. Number two, a living will. A living will indicates your wishes for end-of-life medical care. If you cannot communicate, your living will should state your preferences regarding your medical treatment. Even if you're a registered organ donor with a DNR form, it's still a good idea to repeat these preferences in your living will. Last will and testament. A last will and testament indicates how you want to distribute your assets after death. Also called a will or last will, this document should not be confused with a living will or healthcare directive. In Maryland, a lot of the times it's called. A living will used to document medical care preferences. In this document, you name an executor and successor executors to manage your estate based on your wishes and assign beneficiaries to inherit assets. This is important. It's sort of figuring out how you're going to divvy up your estate, and this helps your beneficiaries greatly, your children, your beneficiaries greatly And so there's no disputes after, and everyone knows what happens. God forbid something happens to you. A living trust is an estate planning document that places your assets into a trust and designates how the assets will be distributed after your death. Different types of trusts allow you to manage your estate according to your preferences. This is not always the best idea in Maryland, but they are available, and they sometimes can help you out from a tax standpoint. Financial power of attorney. A financial power of attorney gives a person of your choosing, called an agent, the legal ability to act on your behalf and help manage your financial affairs. A lot of times I recommend to my clients that they want a springing financial power of attorney that springs into effect when two doctors, their primary care doctor and another doctor, say that they're incapacitated, incompetent to make financial decisions on their own. This document needs to be notarized in Maryland. A medical power of attorney, or sometimes called a healthcare directive, lets you assign a trusted person called your agent to make medical decisions on your behalf if you cannot communicate your wishes. Unlike a financial power of attorney, this type of POA, power of attorney, doesn't give you, your agent, access to your finances. Number 7, organ and tissue donations. You must register as an organ donor if you wish to donate your organs and tissues to someone in need after your death. This also can be done through the healthcare directive. Funeral plan and your obituary. This is stuff that you can plan for in advance. Your funeral plan and the documents for that, and making sure your personal representative in your will doesn't have to pay for that. And you can organize that in advance, so there's less of a burden on your children or your beneficiaries. Personal and financial records. Organize your important papers so that the right people can access this. A lot of times people put their will in the safe. Well, the issue with that is if your children, your beneficiaries, or the people that really need to look at the will don't have the will, they don't have the key or the code for the safe or in a safety deposit box, that can cause issues. God forbid you pass away unexpectedly. So these are 9 documents to consider: DNR, living will, last will and testament, living trust, financial power of attorney, medical power of attorney, organ and tissue donation, funeral plan and obituary, and then look at your personal and financial records. Those are 9 things to consider at the end of your life, and this will help organize things for your children so there's no dispute. God forbid there's no dispute in the probate. You don't have to go to orphans court and litigate these matters and divvy up things, and it can get really ugly really fast. So if you do this in advance, you're organized. It really helps your children out in the long run. So that's the third and final of our series about parents' legal checklist, and it was on end-of-life documents, your end-of-life legal documents that you need to think about. That concludes our parenting legal checklist, and thank you very much. It's just information. This is not advice. If you seek advice or need help with any of these documents, feel free to give us a call at 443-494-9775. It's Scott MacMullan Law, LLC. Thank you very much.
The benefits of a good night's sleep are well documented. Sleeping well prevents weight gain, improves concentration and creativity, and boosts the immune system. So, what keeps you up at night? If you run a business, then the security of your computer network may be one of those things. Threats like ransomware and phishing are becoming increasingly sophisticated and pose a real risk to any business. Don't let these cyber threats keep you up at night. At Alpha, they've been helping their customers sleep better for over 30 years by monitoring in real time and hardening network defenses. And for those irritating IT issues that arise every day, Alpha's just a phone call away, helping your business run smoothly and helping you sleep better, knowing Alpha is on guard. Give Alpha a call to see if they can ease your worries and help you get the rest you deserve. Find them at alphagetsit.com.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.